AppImage, FlatPak, and Snap are all methods of packaging software with its dependencies, so it has minimal dependence on the rest of the operating environment and minimal interference with it. In the case of Linux, where there are many different distributions and many different versions of each, this allows software developers to issue one version of their software that will run on all of the targeted distributions, regardless of the differences in the repositories and package management systems. All complex applications depend on libraries of subroutines, which must be present in the system for them to operate. In the old days, when the capacity of a typical hard disk was 20 or 40 megabytes, disk space was at a premium, and it made sense for different applications to share the same libraries rather than install another instance of the library with each application. Now that the capacity of a typical hard disk may be hundreds of gigabytes or 1 or more terabytes, disk space is plentiful, and it is feasible to install applications with most of their dependencies, even though there may be some duplication. However, these self-contained packages must be insulated from one another so different versions of the same library do not clash. I've listed these systems in alphabetical order, so I'm not playing favorites. They have lots of similarities and some differences. App images are completely self-contained and do not require any base system to be installed for them to be run, whereas Snaps and FlatPak require additional software to run them. And in the case of Snaps, it's available only from Canonical for Ubuntu and a number of other distributions that have been approved by Canonical. Now, in the case of Snaps, software can only use the libraries included in its package, whereas in the case of FlatPak, software can use both the libraries included in the package and shared libraries from another FlatPak. Both Snaps and FlatPaks are sandboxed. That is, they're surrounded by a layer of security that prevents them from infecting the rest of the system should problems develop. In the case of Snaps, the security is provided by a modified version of AppArmor, and in the case of FlatPaks, the security is provided by SE Linux instead of AppArmor. Currently, app images are not sandboxed, but the developer is thinking of providing some kind of security for them. One of the objections that has been raised to this entire approach is that since the libraries are included in these self-contained units, if there is some vulnerability discovered in one or more of the libraries, it won't necessarily be fixed automatically when the system is updated, as is usually the case with Linux. So you'll depend on either the user or the provider of the self-contained unit to provide security updates. And the question is, will they do it, or will they be available automatically? This is the AppImage website. I'll provide links to all of these websites in the notes below the video. As I said, you don't have to download any special software to run app images. This just explains how to do it. It gives you a chance to try one of them. Here's a little video explaining it. If you click on this video, Simon Peter, the developer of AppImage, will explain personally the concepts behind it and how to do it. He's been working on this project continually since 2004, so this is not a new arrival by any means. Up here he shows how to make the app image into an executable file using the terminal, and how to run it using the terminal. And I'll put these notes below the video also. However, you don't have to use the terminal. You can do it all with the graphic user interface. At least I'm doing it that way in this demonstration. Now on this website, on their GitHub page, it also lists the currently available app images. You don't necessarily get the app images from here. You get them from the provider of the software on their website, but this lists most of the current ones. However, it's not complete, so you may find some that are not listed here. Here's VLC, for instance. Krita. Now he mentions in his talk that MuseScore is available as an app image, so I'm going to get that since I'm familiar with the project. I'm going to their website here. Download software. Now you see they have it available for Windows, Mac OS, and Linux, the little penguin. And under the penguin you can download the app image, which they say is portable, the distribution packages, community packages, the BSD packages, or the source code, but I'm interested in the app image. So I'm going to click on that. And actually it appears down here. Here's the app image for 64-bit computers. And it's going to download. I'm going to save the file. I have a pretty fast connection here. It's downloading at 3.94 megabytes per second. All right, now I'm going to my folders. It's in my download folder. There it is, the MuseScore app image. Now I created a special folder. You can put the app images anywhere you want, but I created a special folder just to keep things orderly, and I'm going to move the app image into that folder. Now I'm running Ubuntu with the Thunar file manager, and all I have to do with that file manager is right-click on the file and go down to Properties, and then go over to Permissions. And you notice there's a place to click down here that says allow this file to run as a program. And then there's a warning, allowing untrusted programs to run presents a security risk to your system. Okay, I'm going to click on that box, and that allows it to run as a program. Now when I double click on that file, it essentially opens a program. And there is MuseScore. I can start a new composition. Now when I look in the menu under Multimedia, it has the existing version of MuseScore and also the new version, the AppImage version. So I can run it from the menu. There it is. Now I tried this once before and it didn't show up in the menu. It may have shown up this time because I already had a menu entry for it earlier. If it doesn't show up for you, you can right-click on the little symbol up here for the whisker menu and then left-click on Edit Applications. And you'll see a whole list of the various categories here. And under Multimedia, it just so happens I have MuseScore 2.1 in there now, but if I didn't, I would have to add it. Just to make it easier, since it's in here, you can look at this and see what the command is. It's the address of the executable file. If you did want to make a new entry, you'd go to Multimedia here, and you'd click on this little plus here, and click on Add Launcher. And then you'd enter that command here. However, since I've already done that, I don't want to do it again. So I'm going to delete that new launcher. So that's basically how to add an app image. Now you don't need root privileges, as you notice, to run an app image. And maybe that's one of the drawbacks for those who are more security minded. But it's very simple to install and run them. Now this is the FlatPak.org website. The first thing you have to do is to get FlatPak. And this page tells you how to get it in various different Linux distributions: Alpine, Arch, Debian, Endless OS, Fedora, Gentoo, Mageia, OpenSUSE, Ubuntu. Now with Ubuntu, an older version is available in the 16.10 repository. However, they recommend installing it with this PPA, so I'm going to do that. I'm going to copy these 3 lines one at a time. And paste them into the terminal. This is sudo space add hyphen apt hyphen repository space ppa colon Alex Larson, LARSSON /FlatPak. Press enter, enter my password. Press enter. Press enter to continue. All right. I'm going to the second line. Copy. Paste. Sudo space apt space update. I've already entered my password, so I don't have to do it again. All right. The third line. Which is sudo space apt space install space FlatPak. Press enter. That's done. So FlatPak itself is installed. Now I'm going to go over here to Applications. You have a click to download option. And it says that's available with Fedora 25, OpenSUSE, Tumbleweed, Debian Testing, Arch, and Mageia Cauldron using GNOME software. It doesn't say anything about Ubuntu, however. So I'm going to the command line. And it turns out installing a FlatPak is different for every application. What works in one application may not work in another. Now it says for LibreOffice, I should go to the LibreOffice FlatPak page, and it gives me a link. So here I go. So it says here, first you need to install FlatPak itself. I've just done that. Secondly, you need to add the FlatPak repository that contains the GNOME runtime on which the LibreOffice FlatPak depends. See here for details. So here's 3 more things to enter. wget space https://gnome.org/keys/gnome-sdk.gpg. Enter. All right, that's done. Now, line 2. Paste. It's a long one. FlatPak space remote hyphen add space hyphen hyphen user space hyphen hyphen GPG hyphen import equals GNOME hyphen SDK dot GPG space GNOME space HTTPS colon slash SDK dot GNOME dot org slash repo slash press enter, and something happened, so that's done. Now get the third line here. Copy, paste, FlatPak space install space hyphen hyphen user space GNOME space org dot GNOME dot platform capitalized space 3.24, press enter. Installing all right, that's done. Now I'm going to go back up here and download LibreOffice FlatPak and click on Save File. It's already downloaded. Now I'm going to take that LibreOffice FlatPak out of downloads and move it into this directory that I've set up. It doesn't tell you to do this, but I've set up a FlatPaks directory. Then it tells me with that downloaded to run this command. But first I'm going to change directories. Press enter. Now I'm in the FlatPaks directory. Now I'm going to go back and get that command. Copy, paste, that's FlatPak space install space hyphen hyphen user space hyphen hyphen bundle space LibreOffice with the L and the O capitalized dot FlatPak. Press enter. Says it depends on runtime from GNOME. I already thought I install those. It says configure this as new remote GNOME-1. Yes. I'll try that, see what works. Now it's installing it. All right, that should be installed now. Let's see what I have under Office. I have my old LibreOffice. Now I've restarted my system. I'm going to go down to Office. And you see I have LibreOffice up here and I have LibreOffice down here. I think this is the new one. There's no way of differentiating at this point. And I'll try it. I'll open the spreadsheet. Let's see what I have here. .4.0.3. This is the FlatPak version. So it does seem to work. Now this is the FlatPak Command reference. There's a couple that I'm going to use. One is FlatPak List, which lists installed applications and or runtimes. And the other is FlatPak Uninstall. Now let me go to that. Uninstall an application or runtime. Let me go down here to the example, see what happens. Examples. FlatPak user uninstall org.gnome.gedit. All right, let me try something like that. All right, first I'm going to list what I have. FlatPak space list, press enter, and it lists LibreOffice and the GNOME platform. So now I'm going to use that syntax, sudo FlatPak user uninstall org.LibreOffice dot LibreOffice Right, so this is sudo space FlatPak space -- user space uninstall space org.LibreOffice in all lowercase letters dot LibreOffice with the L and the O capitalized. Press enter, enter my password. And it is uninstalling LibreOffice. Now I'm going to try it with the GNOME runtime environment. So this is sudo space FlatPak space -- user space uninstall space org.gnome.platform with the P capitalized. Press enter. It is now uninstalling the GNOME runtime environment. And that's done. So now when I go to my menu and go to Office, I only have one LibreOffice, and that's the one installed. I don't have the second one that used to be here. Now when it comes to uninstalling the AppImage, that's a little bit easier. I can just go to this folder I created, AppImages, and just remove it. However, it's still in my menu up here, so I'm going to right-click on the little whisker menu icon and click on Edit Applications. I'm going to Multimedia, and then click on the little arrow here to expand. And this is my regular Muse score. There doesn't seem to be a Muse score in here. Yet it's there when I go to Multimedia. When I click on that, fail to execute. That's because I removed that file. So I'm going to try shutting down and restarting my system. So I've restarted my system. Now when I go to Multimedia, Muse score 2.1 is still in there. So this basically seems to be a flaw in the whisker menu, that I can't remove an entry which I created. It disappears from the edit application functions, but it doesn't disappear from the whisker menu. This is the Snapcraft page. I'm using Ubuntu, actually Xubuntu 17.04 at the moment. And Snaps is already installed. I recently reviewed Solus 3, and I want to say that Snaps was already installed on Solus 3 also, and I was able to use it in the same way I'm using it here. If you don't have Snapd already installed, this shows you how to do it. Sudo apt update and then sudo apt install snapd. If you're using Fedora, you just use the syntax for Fedora. Sudo dnf install snapd. There's some additional steps here you take with Fedora. You have to enable the systemd unit, which takes care about Snapd's main communication socket, as this is not automatically done, and it shows you how to do that here. Sudo system control enable --now snapd.socket. So I'm not going to go into that since I'm not using Fedora at the moment, but you'll find the instructions here for all of the major Linux distributions. One thing I was not able to find is a list of all the available snaps. There have been a few lists published in the past, and many of them have been removed, and none of them seem to be very complete. And at one time you were able to get a list by typing snap find. That's snap space find. Press enter. Now you get a very short list of a very small number of available snaps. I know for a fact there are many more, they're just not listed here. So this is a relatively useless utility. However, I happen to know that LibreOffice is available as a snap. So I'm going to type sudo snap install LibreOffice. Press enter, enter my password. Press enter. All right, LibreOffice is installed. Now when I go to Office, I find two instances of LibreOffice, one down here and one up here. Let's see which version this is. This is the Snap version. It's slightly more up to date, but it's not as up to date as the one installed with FlatPak, but that was LibreOffice Fresh, and this is just plain LibreOffice. But it is distinct and separate from my other installation of LibreOffice. And if I want to, I can load the spreadsheet. And it seems to work all right. Now I'm going to try to remove it. So sudo snap remove LibreOffice with a space between each word. It's done, it's removed. Now let's see, when I go to the menu, there's only one instance of LibreOffice, so that works pretty well. To sum it up, I would say that the AppImage approach is the easiest one to use. It doesn't deal with the whisker menu very well. That may be a problem with the whisker menu, but it's far easier to use than either FlatPak or Snap. Snap is the second easiest one to use, at least in Ubuntu, and it also works just as easily in Solus 3 from my experience. I haven't tried it in any other distributions. FlatPak seems to be the most complex one to use, but it varies from application to application, so it may be easier with some applications than with others, and it may be easier, for instance, in Fedora than it is in Ubuntu. I just haven't tried it. As far as whether this is the future of Linux, they hold some promise, but at this point there aren't nearly enough applications available, and the infrastructure just isn't there to let you know what applications are available in many cases. So it's not the present of Linux, but it may have a future. This is XRAM Tech. Thanks for watching.